We are live. Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. It is still morning, right?
It is barely right.
Yes. Welcome to Tech Tuesdays and our podcast today.
Yes, with South Florida Tech Hub. Tell us a little bit about South Florida Tech Hub, Penny.
South Florida Tech Hub, we are a membership organization here in the ecosystem from Miami to Indian River and stretching our boundaries over to the west coast of Florida.
Wow. I love South Florida Tech Hub. So many cool things going on that we're going to get into. So I'm Cindy Mezler. I'm co-organizer of TEDx Boca Raton, and I have a marketing and PR firm called Ohm Media for 20 years in South Florida. So very connected to the local community, local tech community. And I have here this beautiful woman, Heather, sitting next to me. Heather, tell us about you.
I'm Heather Houseworth. Sorry about that. I'm Heather Houseworth. I'm a yacht broker. I'm a submarine specialist and former exclusive submarine broker and veteran journalist of 14 years for a lot of big media companies.
Heather's got some amazing submarine photos on your Instagram. You have to tell everybody to check it out because it's really cool.
Well, I definitely live the brand.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
and entrepreneurship. I love it. I love the marine conservation element and being here in Blue Mind in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So blue-minded.
Yes. So we are here today, and we're actually, I know you launched the Tech Tuesday a couple Tuesdays ago, but we are going to really hit it hard today and talk about different things going on in South Florida in the technology community. Coming up August 1st is our gala. Tell us about it, Penny.
Oh, thank you. We have our Golden Palm Awards and Gala at the Kravis Center in downtown West Palm. We are celebrating all things in the ecosystem from small to large, from startup to established, to social responsibility and inclusion, and obviously partnerships and collaboration and leadership, and even a new couple of categories this year, our Lead Her category for outstanding women entrepreneurs in our community, and a few other surprises.
I saw a long list for that. There's
Yes.
a lot of incredible women leaders in South Florida. So Heather, tell us what you've been up to, right? And tell us a little bit about your backstory with the media, because it's fascinating.
I had kind of an unconventional path. I mean, I started off in journalism. I spent 14 years in the field doing all different kinds of wild and crazy stories. I ended up, the last part of my career was at the New York Post largely. I was there for 6 years. I helped them start the video department. I really focused on weird worlds, which has kind of been a secret and not so secret passion of mine for as long as I could I don't know, formulate thoughts or find interests. And I was able to, make a career out of it at the Post, which was really fun. Had a series called Extraordinary People, which allowed me to tell some pretty outrageous stories. I worked for Vice briefly. I worked at Bloomberg TV for a while, covering financial crimes, insider trading largely.
You need to write a book and do a TED Talk, my friend. Right?
My brain is spinning so many
I
ideas.
Yeah, I think it's good to reinvent yourself. I lived in Guam. I was a military reporter out there for a local CBS station. And I started my career at NHK Japanese TV covering the 2008 election. So those were all really interesting.
Speaking of politics, wow.
Yeah, what a campaign season we're having. What a weekend we just had. This week has already felt really long, and it's Tuesday.
Oh my goodness. Just every day there's something else in the news. It's incredible.
I know.
Wow.
It's crazy when you're used to being completely consumed by news. My whole life was I had 2 phones and I was just buzzing nonstop, slept, one phone next to each ear. And then when you pull away from that and you realize that life goes on, it's really amazing. You can breathe. And I think that the temperature it gets really elevated during campaign seasons. Election cycles, obviously. So the rhetoric has been very intense, but it's good to know that you can just turn off your phone and disconnect.
Yes.
You don't need to let it rule.
Turn off your phone and get on a yacht, right?
Yeah,
that's what you're doing now.
Exactly. It's a much more enjoyable way to live.
I think I'm going to stow away. That's for sure.
Yes. We're going to have to do the podcast out on a yacht.
That's
How about that?
Under the sea. I mean, depends on,
Speaking of, we have something something planned, stay tuned and follow us October 5th in Jupiter. And there might be something exciting with a yacht too.
Yeah, if I have
Fun.
anything to do with it, there will.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
my area, so I'll keep an eye out.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So are we open for calls?
We are
Okay.
open for calls.
There's so many incredible. Okay. So let's tell people about the Owl app. I know mostly everybody knows, but the Owl app is an incredible app where you can go on and share your expertise. So you can monetize your expertise, go live whenever you have downtime, and people can log in and learn about your trips to Guam, your experience in the media for 14 years. And because you know what?
There's
There's
exotic to go below the sea than go all the way to Guam. I'll just, that's what I've realized from like one end of the spectrum to the next extreme. If you're going to, if you're going to have something exotic, I think
yes.
go underwater.
Yep.
But one thing I've learned from being in the media for, just doing PR and marketing for over 20 years is that everybody has a story, right? And same thing with TEDx. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to amplify voices through the media. And now this is the media, right?
This
Is the media. And that's the beautiful thing about Owl. I have connected with so many incredible people, entrepreneurs in this room, but also through the app that are doing just beautiful things. There's podcasters, there's builders, there's, just you name it. There's different thousands. I think Jason's at 10,000 now. I don't want to misspeak, but I think there's 10,000 experts on the app. And it's just a great way to monetize your expertise and build community, which I know we're all about. And by the way, Owl won, I think, four nominations.
They did.
And I nominated Jason for one of them. So woot woot.
Is that the Owl call?
I love my
Yeah,
owl.
it is. It is. Woot
My
woot.
owl. Yeah, it's exciting. I wasn't aware of all that we're doing. We have a call coming in, so I'm going to take that.
Yay.
Good morning. Can you hear us okay?
Hello, Al.
Hi there. How are you this morning?
Hello. Who
Good
is
morning,
that?
America.
Hello.
Is that Jeffrey? Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm calling in to talk to my BFF, Cindy.
Oh, I'm so happy. You're the best. You're the best,
I know.
Jeffrey. So excited
know.
to have you. And I see you live on Owl sometimes. I'm like, there's Jeffrey. So
I'm live and in person now.
We
yay.
say Jeffrey is amazing. Jeffrey is one of my teammates, and he absolutely is amazing.
He's incredible.
And-
And you have a big event. I know we touched on it, but let's talk about it. And we have sponsor opportunities, right, Jeffrey?
Right. Also, just to let everyone know, I have my office hours today, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, 5 to 6 on Tech Tuesday. Jeffrey's going to be live if you want to pick his brain.
Lots of
For
things,
sure.
lots of interesting. Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into tech.
Yeah.
Wow. You sure an hour is enough time?
Oh, we have 10 minutes on the app. We got to, yeah.
8 minutes and 52 seconds.
So I've been with Tech Hub about a year and a half. Have lived in South Florida for 30 plus years, 30. Prior to Tech Hub, I have or had a long IT career. Was at IBM for about 26 or so years, Oracle for
Wow.
about 6 years,
Impressive.
and Red Hat for 2 years. I'm old, but I'm kicking, alive and kicking.
You're a seasoned
So-
veteran. You're a
That's
seasoned
right.
veteran.
But how impressive. IBM for 26
you.
years. Incredible. And tell us, for those of people that may not know, IBM was at the Boca Innovation Campus. That was the
Correct.
headquarters. And tell us what was happening over there back
Well-
in the day.
Well, slight correction. That wasn't a headquarters site. That used to be a manufacturing site.
Oh, the campus, right. I'm sorry.
Correct.
It was a big
Yeah, it's
sprawling campus.
now right. It's now, as you mentioned, called the Boca Raton Innovation Center, or BRIC. But prior to that, it was an IBM site. Believe it or not, they actually at one time physically manufactured IBM PCs there before IBM sold that division to Lenovo. And they eventually moved that out of Boca, and it became a programming site where a lot of IBM software was developed. And then eventually, as we all know, IBM sold the site. But it's got a long storied history of being a former IBM site. We've actually done an event on the history of IBM at that site in Boca Raton.
Yes, no, I know that, and that's why I wanted to mention it because I don't think everyone knows about the heritage that the personal computer, the IBM personal computer, was born in Boca Raton in 1981. And
Correct.
that's a huge feather in the cap. It's so funny because I moved to South Florida from New York in the late 90s during the dot-com boom. And I remember a lot of,
Curve.
yeah, the boom and the bust. A lot of friends were like, "What's going on in Florida?" And back then, it was like a lot of retirees, but there was, I said, "Oh, a little thing called the personal computer was born here." So there you
Right.
go.
Yes.
Right.
Interesting.
For sure.
And lots of and Jeffrey, I would think that sharing that manufacturing is huge here in South Florida. It's part of our economics. And with what brick used to be with IBM and Motorola and SV Microwave and some of the other, we actually are trying to celebrate that at one of the events that we have at the end of the year called Tech Palooza. So we'll be bringing in a lot of the manufacturing and really celebrating all that we do here in South Florida that most people, not just back in the day, but even currently, don't understand. You have
Right.
anything to share on that, like the conversations about the manufacturing here in South Florida?
I'm sorry, Penny. Were you asking me that?
Yes, Jeffrey.
Sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
haven't had enough coffee yet.
More
Yeah, so
Jeffrey.
that's a great point. So, as you mentioned, Cindy, another little known fact is all the actual physical manufacturing of products that does go on in South Florida. And we have started to engage and work with a partner organization called the South Florida Manufacturers Association. It's a clear descriptive name, and that's a trade association of all the manufacturing companies based in South Florida. So we've started to build a relationship with them, and as Penny mentioned, we hope to feature them and a lot of the local companies. Penny mentioned one, SV Microwave, actually makes electronic components here in South Florida. So who thought that any company in this day and age would manufacture a high-end electronic components in Boca Raton? And that's kind of the point. So we hope to feature them and other companies that are members of the South Florida Manufacturers Association
Well,
at the event in December, Tech Palooza 2024.
so we're certainly celebrating IBM's legacy and all that started here and all that's grown, but I think a lot of people don't realize it's still here and probably here to stay for a long time. We have a lot of economic drivers and business development reasons, incentives for companies to come here to the South Florida market, not just Miami, not just Fort Lauderdale, not just Palm Beach, but just in general in the ecosystem. So we're trying to highlight that.
Yeah, and there's a
Right.
lot of IBM spinoffs. I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that came out of IBM. I know even when I moved here in the late 90s, there were a lot of IBM executives who left and started voice over IP, speech recognition companies, and I worked with many of them. So I know that there is a long heritage here of entrepreneurship coming from IBM.
Definitely
Well,
as
here's
those
another trivia. I
go ahead.
bet you didn't know one of the original founders of Citrix originally worked at IBM.
Yes,
Interesting.
I did, because I
Oh,
remember
okay. Well,
years
good for you.
ago, yeah, years ago when I when I moved here, we had a lot of events at Citrix. That was like a hub for a
Right,
lot of tech events back in the day.
Well, back before
right.
Zoom and all the other tools that we use today for our virtual and our hybrid events, Citrix was the big one. We used to use that a lot in, to dial in, so to speak, and use new
Mhm.
frame to be able to access things remotely and go from client server to what we see today. So I was really, I think Citrix that was very forward
Yeah.
thinking in that.
I saw, speaking of Citrix, and technology, I saw Michael Corbett was one of the nominees,
He
right?
was Career
Yeah.
Source Palm Beach County and
Yeah.
Career Source Broward were both in the mix.
Yeah, so I worked with Michael years ago. Again, did a lot of trade shows and technology PR for different companies and Internet Coast before Tech Hub. So lots of cool things, and to see the trajectory over the past 20 years, and it touches every single industry. And Heather, let's talk about that. How tech touches yachting and submarines and really everything. Every industry you can think of, technology is woven in.
Well, I think maybe to start with submarines because it's more interesting than yachting, although yachting is also super interesting. And of course, technology is a huge part, especially with, GPS and mapping, but all of like the different sort of integrations that you can have with AI as well. But I think like with submarines, which is a more obscure world that people most don't know as much about, the world of civilian personal submarines, which is the world that I was very focused on. And I think that, the different applications that you can have on the monitor when you're just looking at, how to navigate subsea and things like
Yeah.
that. It's a core part of those systems and how the machines work.
It's fascinating. It really is. It really is. I mean, and everything from cars to washing machines to,
refrigerators, everything.
fashion,
Right,
right?
music,
But it's
all
all
of
about
it.
innovation, right? And
Yeah.
making sure that you're constantly innovating to streamline and make things more efficient.
Yes, definitely.
So, Jeffrey, we've got about a minute left on your call today. So, I wanted to give you a chance to ask Heather anything you might want to ask. I know we have a few members currently in environmental and marine science and blue tech and green energy. Any questions for Heather?
Well, I'm just curious, how did you get started? And I'm sorry if you've already mentioned that. How did you get started in this area?
I didn't mention it, but I moved to South Florida in 2020, like a few other people from New York. And I got into yacht brokerage via PR, actually. I joined a yacht brokerage in South Florida and was their PR director and broker very soon after that. And then became obsessed with expedition. My heart is really, I love the ocean. It's always been my first love. And so I kind of navigated or migrated over to the submersible space kind of on accident. I went to tour the facility in Sebastian, Triton Submarines. The CEO of the company, Patrick Leahy, is a genius. And I just kind of was so kind of intoxicated by everything that he was saying about the capacity of these incredible machines to take you to places you can only dream of. And I'm a big diver. So for me, it's like these worlds are so inaccessible.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
And if you like going deep, and if I ever wondered what's beyond, the 50, I mean, most people are only diving 100 feet, 30 meters or something like that. So if you ever had any sort of desire to go deeper than that, like a submarine is what makes that accessible. And how do you have access to that? Well, I had to work for the company because I'm not a billionaire. And so the clients can
Not yet. Let's put that out in the universe, right?
Exactly. But
Manifest.
It gave me a tremendous insight and opportunity to meet some of the most interesting people in the world that are doing marine conservation and ocean research, like Ocean X, which is owned by Ray Dalio, they're doing science and research that some nations aren't even doing, and it's really remarkable. And whether that's like discoveries of thousands of new species
and even medicines too.
mapping the
Yeah.
ocean floor. And I mean, I think there's a cure for glaucoma that was
It's
uncovered
incredible.
with,
Yes.
like the discovery of certain species that are very
I read about that.
I mean, it's I think that was a Scripps
Mm-hmm.
discovery. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and I was just lucky enough to ride the wave, and now I've kind of fully immersed myself into it.
No pun intended. Riding the wave, right?
Immersed. I love that.
Gotta dive deep,
Yes. Love it.
Love it. It's really
Thanks for
truly
the
interesting.
question.
It's really truly interesting. We think about space and we think about the beyond in the universe, but really we've got a whole new world that's so untapped here, so not known.
95% of the ocean is unexplored, and we know more about space than we do about the ocean, and it's so much more accessible. I mean, anyone can go snorkeling. I mean, there are fewer divers out there. Some people have some sort of like phobia of having things on their face or something like that, but I really think it's the most beautiful part of our planet is what's
it's
going
amazing.
Right
just so unknown, right? The boundaries are limitless, just like with technology. I mean, there's so many things that we do today that we probably couldn't have done 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. So tell us a little bit. You mentioned AI and you mentioned some of the technologies in the yachting, and I'm assuming in all boating industry.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced or things that you've been able to do with those tools that maybe otherwise couldn't be.
Oh, interesting. Well, I think that I would highlight is that I mean, I think with the submarines, it's even more interesting. Oh, sorry about that. Triton built a vessel called the 36,002, which literally goes to the bottom of the ocean, 36,000 feet.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is the bottom of the Mariana.
It's a little scary for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would be signing up to join that, mission to the bottom of the sea.
It's
but
incredible
I
though.
think
Like
it's-
it is like, it's something that, you know, just having that access and
Exactly.
learning.
It opens up an
Yeah.
entirely different world, and it gives you access to a universe that is not even accessible at all. But now
Mhm.
there is a machine out there that goes full ocean depth, and it can be done safely, and it's certified, and it's classed, and it's certified by accredited bodies. DNV or ABS are the ones that are
Mhm.
doing that accreditation, and it goes through intense, rigorous testing. That submersible was actually tested in Moscow, in a pressure
Wow.
chamber lab in Moscow, because all of the pressure boundaries have to be depth tested like 1.2 times what the manufacturer says that the rating
Wow.
is at. So if they say 36,000 feet,
Have to go
1.2x
beyond.
that, right? But there's very few places in the world that even have the capacity to do that kind of testing. But I think it's that kind of technology and peerless engineering that are kind of woven through, every component of that company, for example.
It
Mhm.
really is limitless. I mean,
Well,
there's
yeah, it's just, I think
all in
it's
your imagination, right? It's all like somebody thinking whether it's EV and the electric vehicles or it, like as you said,
well, those are,
anything
and those are
marine.
actually electric as well. Well, they're
Right.
lithium phosphate
Mhm.
batteries. It's a proprietary blend, but they are
Interesting.
eco-friendly. And I think that that's a trend in yachting as well, is going towards more efficient, fuel efficient, hydrogen.
Oh yeah, we met at
based.
that EV event in West Palm,
We
remember?
did, yeah, yeah, that's true.
The boating
That's true.
EV space. It's
Love
very
the
cool.
connection points.
Yeah. So, okay, let's dive a little, speaking of diving, a little more into the gala on August 1st, because we have August 1st is right around the corner.
It is
Um,
fast approaching.
we are expecting, last year there were 300 people. This year we're expecting 400 to 500 people.
We're hopeful.
Yes. And we already have, we're about halfway there. Super, super excited. And I know from TEDx too that everyone waits the last minute to buy tickets.
We do.
But there is a code. Is there a discount code right now?
We do currently have a discount code NOM2024, so we can celebrate our nominees.
There
So
you go.
it will expire at the end of this week, but we're happy to put out some additional promos next week too. So we do still have some sponsorships, limited amount of sponsorships available for anybody that wants to get their logo out there. And obviously, there's a lot of other opportunity to grow the relationship with Tech Hub and with our members. So we do celebrate all things memberships here. And then we also have table sponsorships. So for those that would like a group package, we have some opportunities. And then, of course, our VIP experience. We have a VIP reception that's new this year. So that will be in the Loge balcony. And we are actually in the Grand Dreyfus Hall this year. So a little different. We're not in the ballroom like last year in the Cohen Pavilion at the Kravis Center, but we were offered the opportunity to be on the big stage. So with that, we've changed a little bit of the flow and the work plan, but still dinner and dining and a lot of networking and imbibing. So we'll have a lot of fun, and then we'll enter into the theater for the actual awards ceremony.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's an incredible event. Last year I was blown away, and it was the first event last year. Yeah.
We started this event prior to the pandemic. We brought it back bigger, bolder, better than ever, and added a few flares to it. So we're tapping into that and adding a few more surprises this year.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. You guys did an incredible
Thank
job
you.
last year. I'm excited to be part of it this year. And actually, TEDx won an award last year, so that was super cool. It was a black tie event at the Kravitz. I mean, the Kravitz is gorgeous, and then the stage this year is just going to be incredible. And the thing about South Florida Tech Hub is it really is a community builder. So if you're out there and you want to connect with thought leaders and technology leaders and just business leaders in the community, this is the place to go to be part of. And not just this particular event on August 1st, but South Florida Tech Hub in general. Lunch and learns. You guys have like fun events, formal events. There's so many things going on. And then, as Penny mentioned, Tech Palooza in December. It's going to be a huge conference at the Broward County Convention Center. We're looking for sponsors for that as well.
We are. We we were at MODS, the Museum of Discovery and Science, and that's a great opportunity for us to explore different avenues with the museum. But because we're growing, we a little bit of a outgrow the space idea. And also this gives us a chance to add some events within the event. So we not only have our expo floor, but we have a lot of classroom and breakout session and some special sessions as well planned. So more to come. Once we get past the gala, we'll do a lot more promotion, but definitely sponsorships and also co-located events. So if you're an organization or an association that is meeting up in the fourth quarter, or maybe it's your annual meeting, we are offering that opportunity to bring your group to our event and host your meeting there on property
Nice
with us. And then your members can join us on the expo floor and for some of the other breakout sessions.
Very cool.
Yeah, it should be exciting. We're hoping for about 5,000 attendees this year, so a little bigger than last year's event.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
going to be beautiful.
5,000.
Yeah.
And the theater is incredible at the Kravitz for the
Oh,
gala.
Diane Quinn and Dana Murphy, the director of marketing there, they've shared some experiences in hospitality and tourism. So we're actually talking about getting the Kravitz Center more involved. And I'm a big advocate for youth arts and youth sports. So it's just my dream to be able to work with them and with other venues to really engage with them and show how arts and culture is a big impact on our area. And then how the organizations that are technologically driven and technologically savvy can partner with them, and certainly for events and fundraisers, but just some of the tech that goes on in the tourism and the arts and culture space is amazing. And because we talked about possibly bringing art
Yeah.
and film and fashion and music to Techpalooza. So we've been
Yes.
discussing how technology is used in the arts world
Yeah.
altogether.
We're going to be planning something really cool with music and
Where
just-
is Techpalooza taking place? Forgive
That's
me.
the event at the
Broward County
Broward County
Oh, that's the Broward
Convention
County
Center.
event.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. So bring some businesses, Heather. Bring
Okay.
connections. Bring them
I'll
on.
scratch my head.
And the cool thing is,
my
it's
idea.
more than, aligning with South Florida Tech Hub and even this event today, these Tech Tuesdays. It really is about relationships, right? And so it's not about a sponsorship and a logo placement on a website. It's about building community. It's about getting in front of, potential relationships that really have meaningful legs to them, things that can really open doors. And I know for myself, just being in South Florida for a long time, I've just seen so many incredible things happen through Tech Hub relationships. So kudos to Tech Hub. Thank you, Penny.
Thank you. I'm fairly new. I'm not allowed to say I'm new to the company because I've been there for a little bit, but I'm one of the newer members. But I was a member many years ago, and I've watched the evolution of Tech Hub, and it's truly exciting. And I'm honored to be a part of this team.
The team is really special. It's a great
It truly
team.
is. We say we're small but mighty, but we're out there and we put on probably, I would say, a good 50 events a year, anywhere from a tech talk or a happy hour to more of a virtual lunch and learn. We learned that some of our members they enjoy the virtual and others want to be out in front feeling the energy in the room. So we've brought back a lot of our in-person events. We try to bring content to everything we do. So it's not just the networking, but the networking is a really big part of it. And for me, I focus a lot on the signature events and our larger events, like our hackathon that we'll do in September. We have a tech talent fest that brings developers and employers and students together in October. We do our Ignite pitch contest for the startups that are still seeking out funding or want some expertise and want to learn from other organizations. We do that in November. And this year we're doing just the preliminary round in November. We're actually going to bring the final round to Techpalooza. So they'll get a 2-for-1 type of deal where startups that want to come and pitch, in the first scenario during Global Entrepreneur Week in November at Brick. Then if they're selected for the final round, they'll come and do their final pitch. And also we have some workshops that are geared towards startups, either in the seed or Series A stage of their business, their entrepreneurship. So we've got a lot of investors. We've got some angels and some capital investors that want to be a part of this. They'll be bringing content to that. We've got an international pavilion where we're going to have companies that either have a footprint here or interested in having a footprint here in South Florida. And of course, all of that being said, we're inviting all of those companies to also join us at the gala, because that gives them a chance to get a sneak peek at our team and learn, what our other members are doing. And I think the key for me, what's excited me the most about about Tech Hub through the years that I've known Tech Hub is really about the thought leadership and the peer circle, the peer groups, and just the collaborations that happen. We can't all be all things. And so when we find those people and those organizations that we have synergies with, and we're able to do something that we can't do as a standalone business, it's just truly exciting to me.
I agree 1,000%. And the really cool thing too is there are so many incredible businesses that were born in South Florida. I mean, when you think about it, and I know even some through incubators like Modernizing Medicine, who they're a big part of South Florida Tech Hub, and they were an incubator at FAU Tech Runway.
Yes. And a lot of the universities, I don't think even our own members realize that we work with all the major colleges and universities here in Florida and some beyond those borders, as well as K through 12 and the school districts to understand where they're at, where their policies stand, where curriculum, where the Department of Education is focused, so that we can take craft to career, right? So as we bring middle schoolers and high schoolers up through the ranks of industry certifications and discussions about where they might be headed in their next chapter and what technology they're using, because every single one of the high schoolers I know, because I have a 15-year-old, they all have a phone in their hands. So they have a mini computer, and a lot of them even more so with the Apple Watch and some other technologies that they're using. So
Apple Vision Pro.
Exactly. They've been raised on it, and it's just natural to their DNA. So to take what they're learning in middle school and high school, and even all the way back to 3-year-olds being on a computer screen, what are they going to do when they get to college, and how does college shift their curriculum to support that? And then also, how do we work with industries here in our market and beyond the South Florida market to know what is hireable? What are they looking for today? And there's a little bit of a gap because you have such a fast evolution of technology. It's like, how do you gear up that next wave of employees? So we try to have all of those conversations, from what industry is doing today to where industry is going, what does tech talent need to be looking like, and then also how do we gear up for the next generation of technology?
It's interesting that you bring up the future workforce. My brother actually created an app called Certified, which is shameless plug, but it's an online marketplace for
No, plug it. We're all about supporting local tech companies for
But
sure.
You can go and follow Skylar Maximilian on Instagram, but his company Certified, CERTIFYDE, is an online marketplace for certifications. But the real premise of it,
I love it. I love it.
is about skills-based learning and the future of the workforce. And not let's face it, not everyone's going to go to college, right? And it's getting more expensive, and it seems less attainable for, I think, most.
And also
most
in some
Americans.
cases less desirable. Like
Sure.
traditional education is
Absolutely.
not the right path for everyone,
It
right?
really isn't. But I think that like having a skill or having a trade has really made a big, it is always going to be a viable option, but especially with the advent of AI and technology, that in large part, if you can't figure out how to work with it, then it's going to work. It's going to do the work for you and replace you. Right. So I think it's like, how do you come up with a way that you can integrate with, that technology, or figure out whatever skill set or special kind of certification or education that you can come up with. So with Certified, it's like, every single vertical under the sun. He launched with health and wellness, but now he's branching.
He needs to
into
be a
all
member of
kinds
South Florida Tech Hub.
I'm going to tell him all about it. I'm going to send him this.
And
I'm gonna
come
send him
on
this
Tech
podcast.
Tuesday and be a
Right.
podcast guest.
I will definitely.
Yeah.
And you'll love him. He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
He's got great charisma. But yeah, I think that it's interesting to look at the future of the workforce, and I know he's really kind of tapped into that.
No, that is
world.
so smart, because just having clients in the HVAC space and solar space, those are industries that need certifications, but they're not traditional linear education.
Sure. And there are so many things that you can do outside of, traditional sales and marketing or things like that, where, even if you're a specialist in something, like having what he's kind of exploring is like, are there even, public, larger institutions where you can, plumbing, being a plumber, you need like a certification, or Lyft. He's working with Lyft on like driver safety, so that your Lyft driver, is a certified safe driver, for example. So there's really applications in every industry.
There's not really much out there today that's not tech related,
Completely.
right? And so
you have to integrate it.
you have to at least recognize it, right?
It's like
and
your
you have
third
to
arm. Yeah,
it is. And there's so many different age groups and backgrounds and belief systems. But at the end of the day, we all are on a phone. We often use a laptop or a desktop or a tablet to do our work. I mean, 70% of people are now using their phone to view all websites. So to me, that's an amazing statistic. 10 years ago, that would have been
You
unheard of.
can now create a website with AI.
We were still on flip
right?
phones, so back then it wasn't
Yeah.
even a thought, but now
Sure.
it's just second nature. And I think not only is it limitless, but if you think of Tech Hub per se, it's we don't limit the membership opportunities to just developers. And I think that's something that we're working on, making sure that the people in our community understand that we're here to talk about all things technology and even end clients. So while we have a lot of development and we have a lot of companies that produce an actual product, say a computer or a chip or whatnot, it's also about how that technology is being utilized in different industries. And we have a partner with City Furniture. And, one might say, just like McDonald's, well, they're a restaurant. No, they're really a real estate company that happens to sell hamburgers. So if you think of City Furniture, they have an entire development team and they're very technology forward, very
Interesting. Do they
technology
really?
savvy. They do. And
I have
there's
a couch from there.
there's a lot. Yes.
actually.
And they're an amazing partner of ours. So we
It's a great
strive-
success story
It
as
truly
well.
is.
Yeah, they're incredible.
And we strive to have those type of relationships where we deep dive and we get to know what
Mm.
is their business model. So FPL is another. FPL is a technology company that happens to sell energy. So
Mm.
when we shift our mindset to knowing that technology is going to exist no matter where we are in the world, but what are they doing with it? It changes the narrative.
Right. And how can you figure out other applications? Can you white label something and use it on the back end for whatever it is that you're trying to power?
And to your point, just staying up to speed, whether you're certified or just somewhat knowledgeable, just using a Microsoft Office 365 product, sometimes you get stuck on something. So having those courses and those opportunities available and not just to have to go to a college to do that is truly
Oh,
amazing.
we have a call.
All right.
Yay.
Hi, EA. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Oh, actually, good afternoon. 12:02.
Well, I'm in the West Coast, so it is still morning. It's
Oh,
9
good
o'clock.
morning to you.
Yes.
Are
Happy
you
Tech
in-
Tuesday, ladies.
Thank you.
Happy Tech Tuesday.
Are you in Oregon?
I am in Oregon,
Amazing.
the great state of Oregon.
We are
Oh, how
reaching the
cool.
west coast of the United States. That's fantastic.
Love
And I'm
it.
sitting here watching the interview. I'm super, super pumped up about everything that's going on. I come to Florida, 3 times a year at least.
Wow.
So I'm definitely excited about seeing how I can.
You have to
add
come for
some
Tech
tech.
Tuesday next time you're here, right?
Absolutely. Hey, I want to come for the August 1st event. I think
All right.
that's gonna be groovy.
Oh my gosh,
absolutely
it's
is.
going to be amazing. If you could come, you definitely should join us.
Have you seen our
Absolutely.
sizzle reel?
I have. I'm
You
a
did?
fan.
All
I'm
right.
definitely a fan. I watch everything you guys do. I'm an Owl supporter. So this is my community.
Yay. We
That's
are too. We
Yes.
love Owl. Hoot hoot.
Yeah.
Wait, I
So
have to learn to
tell me
do that.
something good, ladies. I need some help with technology. I need help.
Tell us your backstory.
Well, I'm a counselor. I'm a mental health, substance abuse counselor, and
Thank you.
I'm looking for ways to connect with people in the masses. And it is a new world.
Truly.
In person is not the same. It's just not the same. People don't like in person anymore. I'm in person though. My energy is better in person than it is virtual.
Oh wow.
But I need to figure out how to bridge that gap. What would you ladies suggest?
Well, certainly I have to agree with you. The in-person is where the connections, that's where the magic happens. I think we learned through the pandemic that we can shift and we can do a lot online, and having visuals, like being able to get on a Zoom call and being able to see somebody face to face helps, but that's only two-dimensional. So it's challenging, right? So we live in a world, just like Sandra Bullock back in The Net, the movie, where we're in our room and we're on our screens and we're ordering our pizzas and we're doing our Amazon orders and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's really about the socialization. So it's finding the avenues. I think that would be my take, is that, finding the avenues to connect with people on a much deeper level. So whether it's picking up a phone, even if you're not one that wants to go out into the room, but hearing the voice, hearing the reverberations, I think is important. And I think sometimes our virtual calls are a little flat with that. And then I think just once in a while, gear up, even if it's the hardest thing you've ever done, is just gear up and go out and be public, even if it's just to go to a restaurant. I think the hardest thing is to go out by yourself. But if you can find a buddy system and do that, I think that's, tech is great, and it helps us get to places like from Oregon to Palm Beach easily,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
it's also about being in the room once in a while.
Yeah, I
Yes, I
agree.
think that's great advice. That is so great advice. Thank you so much, lady.
So I'm just so curious, EA. I think that we may have spoken before. I think that we have, but
Mhm.
tell us just a little bit more about your business model and how it works. And I just commend you for what you do because I just feel like there's such a huge, huge need. And I do think that, obviously in person is incredible, but to sometimes to reach the masses, getting on a Zoom and
Mhm.
building community, and then piggybacking with live events is very meaningful. So, but I think what you do is just so incredibly valuable and important right now, even more than ever.
I'm telling you, it's the world's oldest pandemic. We were finding ways to alleviate COVID and all this other stuff, but mental health and substance abuse has been around for millions of years. Okay, I think after Jesus, I think that was the next thing
Yes, and
was
by the
mental
way,
health.
it got worse, right? Intensified
Yes,
with COVID because so
yes,
many people were inside isolating,
yes.
alcohol consumption went up. We know that lots of
Whew.
people with liquor stores made a lot of money.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And it's made it easier for me, like people like me. I'm a counselor, so a lot of the work that I do is frontline work. Is helping people in their addiction, in their, helping them unlock recovery. Recovery is a mindset. I think I said that before when I spoke to you. So recovery is a mindset. So bridging that gap, people think all the time, oh, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. Well, we all have problems. Okay. It's all about how do we persevere. So I teach perseverance. I'm a hope dealer. Yes.
I love that.
Mhm.
I love that.
Hope dealer.
And so, how do people find you? And how are you, with your business right now? Do you have an office? Are you doing televisits? Like, how does it work? Do you work for a
Well,
company?
I'm a contractor. I do a lot of speaking. Like I do a lot of presentations. I teach group. I teach recovery. So I do that. I actually work for an agency and I work for the Urban League of Portland. I don't know if you guys know about that, but
I've heard of it. That's
We have
great.
an Urban League here, Urban League of Palm Beach County.
Mhm.
yep. It's a national civil rights organization. They do a lot of work for the communities just to help underprivileged, underserved communities.
That's
So I do a
amazing.
lot of that work
That's
full
amazing.
time, but I'm also like a podcaster, entrepreneurial type of person. So I do a lot of this work also for myself. You can follow me on EA the Genius IG. That's the one that I really interact with my people, my friends, my family, my everything. EA the Genius on IG. Everything else is ran by my team. Shout out to Ocean Tree Creative. I love those people. They're great people.
Oh, they're amazing. They're
They
amazing.
handle all of the back end social media scheduling, all the good stuff.
So you
I
just
love
hit
them.
you just hit on a lot of topics. You are collaborating, and that's phenomenal. And I think that's what I encourage most people to do. You can't do everything yourself. We were just talking
Yes.
about how collaboration is something that just like it lifts a lot of borders.
Mhm.
And if you're not already using the Owl app, feel free. If you sign up, you could certainly have your platform to talk about all things EA and the things that you're doing. I think it's amazing. You have a great energy, so that
I
might
think
give you
he's
a
an ambassador. Aren't you an
Yeah, is my
ambassador,
picture
Yeah,
up
EA?
there?
I
Is
am.
that
I
under
actually do.
featured
I do a lot
owls?
of
Oh, there you are. There
absolutely.
you are.
Hey,
Yay.
Phenomenal.
Featured owl over
you
there.
said something. You said something that was epic. I want to make sure that people hear it again. 'Cause some of people they need to hear it several times.
Okay.
Collaboration. Collaboration is the new currency, guys. Okay, it's
Yeah,
stronger than actual money.
I agree.
Collaboration.
I
Okay.
agree. Agree
Yes.
1000%. So EA, tell us about a couple of like if you speak, what are the talks? Tell us the
What I
pit
would be talking about?
Yeah.
yeah, the different types of talks that you've given because I
Oh
do
my
think
God.
it's so meaningful.
OMG, I've been all over the country speaking about. I just left Montreal, Canada. I did a Father's Day conversation, a room of men just having conversations and the importance of men and, parenting their
I
sons.
love that. I feel like
So
that's a very, very important topic too.
yes, I think the world of recovery just in itself is like it's so broad and so it's so indirect. So people always like when you talk about recovery, that's boring. No, no, no. I make it exciting. I make it fun. Okay. Yes. So that's how I do it. Generally,
So
it's
so tell
recovery.
us like if you're presenting to a group, so what are some
Mhm.
of the topics that, obviously recovery, but like tell us what you get into a little bit.
Well, I get into, the new world of, addiction and what it looks like, and oh my goodness, I can talk forever. Like I get into
Is it a lot of
recovery.
kids too? Like, do you speak at schools or
I do. I do. I just left Los Angeles in June. I spoke to a fourth grade class on the topic
Wow.
of journaling. I talk about journaling and
Oh, I
the
love
importance of
that. Oh
how
my
we
gosh, you're
process
doing such
information.
beautiful work, EA.
Well, I need more help. I need to find more spaces. That's why I called in today because I love what you guys are doing. I would love to be a face, a voice, of inspiration to somebody in your community. So let me know what I can do, and I'm there.
Yes, we should have another side convo because I love
Yes,
what you're doing too. And if there's
yes,
any,
please.
just because I also do PR and I probably have a couple of resources that I could get in front of you that might do a story, because I just such
Oh,
an
I need to.
important topic,
Well, Cindy, stay live on Al today after the show. I will call you, and yeah,
I
take
have
the
a 1 o'clock that I have to run to after this, but yes, I will. I mean, let's definitely stay in touch on Owl, and
definitely.
yeah, I definitely today we'll talk for sure.
And
Okay, okay.
I'll let Cindy and you connect. And if you do decide to join us, we'd be honored to have you at the gala on the 1st. So
Yes,
I would.
make
I'm
sure
I'm
to
planning. That's
connect
the
me into
plan. I'm
that.
actually gonna look
Okay.
up. I'm gonna look up travel right now. Actually, that's
Awesome.
how I work.
Yeah,
So,
we've
yeah.
got, I think we have a few people that we might be able to introduce you to there once you get here. So you let us know when you land.
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds like
Oh,
a
I think
plan.
you only have 18 seconds left, but EA, it was
What
great
happened?
chatting with you, and we'll talk later. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ladies.
Thanks,
Happy
ladies.
Keep
Tuesday.
doing what
Thanks,
you're
EA.
doing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, wow. What an amazing man.
Oh my gosh, just love.
Truly, truly good work.
That's
Good work.
what's so beautiful about Owl. You get to connect. I met another gentleman. His name was Michael. He, he has a huge construction company in the Midwest, and they do a lot for affordable housing and getting people that, can't afford homes into homes, and just so many incredible, important things happening, and to share and showcase those stories, whether it's through, you know, this community, this podcast, through PR media, through TED Talks. I just think it's such a great platform. So thank you, Owl.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Al. We're very excited with all the Tech Tuesdays and all the talks. And here he
Here he
is.
is. He's going to
The
join
man, the
us
myth,
as we
the
wrap up.
legend.
We've
I
got
will
10
join the
minutes.
finale of the show over
10
here.
minutes.
The last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
There's Eric, by the way. He's in the photo right below you this whole time.
That's what
Look.
I thought.
Cindy's up top. He's right behind
Well,
you
he brought
guys.
up a good point,
Oh,
right? It's that
yeah.
hybrid of with mental health. My mom's a counselor, a psychologist, and the hybrid of going in person. She shifted her whole practice during the pandemic to largely
Televisits?
being
Yeah.
online. Yeah, televisits. And so she doesn't even have an office anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that, there is value in seeing someone when you're, especially initially, I think when you're forming that relationship, that meeting in person probably has a lot of value.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it's more challenging these days, but with apps like Owl and other opportunities to get to know people, it's just, I think you have to be present in all that you do. So I think it's just finding a way to do it. And you've been reminding us to be present on the app. So
I've been pushing hard. I've been
Yeah.
pushing hard.
Did you
'Cause
guys
I think we're
take
guilty of
inspiration
it.
from the Clubhouse app? Because it reminds me a lot of I was
Yes,
on
So-
that a lot during COVID, and then it kind of disappeared. But
So I had the idea before Clubhouse existed.
Oh, wow.
And I actually got really scared, right? Because I saw all the announcements all over LinkedIn, like, you gotta try this new app, Clubhouse. Look, Gary Vee's on it, Grant Cardone, Mark Zuckerberg has a room. I'm like,
right,
oh no, this is what I'm inventing.
right,
Right. I just saw the writing on the wall. Having my podcast, The Shrimp Tank, I started doing live shows with 4 to 6 different business owners at once, and they all wanted to join the show. And then at that point, I'm like, wait a second, everyone's sitting on their couch. Everyone wants to collaborate
Right.
more frequently. They don't want to run to an in-person meeting all the time. And I was like,
Right.
there's got to be a better technology out there. And it didn't exist. So that's why I invented Owl, to help people connect easier. Right. And it
And
starts.
monetize it too, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing,
And
Like
it-
Cameo and Clubhouse had a baby.
Yeah.
that's one of our slogans.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just eating breakfast and now it's like in my throat. But yeah, like Owl is just so simple. It's a one-on-one conversation where it helps filter the people who want to chat with you one-on-one. So if Cindy's driving in the morning, an hour or so down to South Florida, and I'm driving to work and she's live, I'm live, the money doesn't matter so much. It's just that we know that we're both available to have a conversation.
Right. The time.
And the time syncs where ordinarily, like, I'm not going to call Cindy, right? I have zero clue if she's available. It usually would typically start with a text message like, hey, Cindy, you want to jump on a call later today? Like it's becoming awkward to just call a friend anymore, right? Everything's got to be text and then a conversation. Unless
The beautiful thing is
super
too,
close.
you
just
have
go for it.
access to, you have different topics, you have different areas of expertise. There's podcasters on there. Hello.
Oh, we got Ellie Santra. Come on in. Just come on in. Grab a stool. You're on the show. We are live, Ellie.
Yes, we
That's
are.
my co-host
I
of the Owl
actually-
podcast.
Since we only have 10 minutes, I'm going to let her take my seat because I actually have a 1 o'clock.
No, you
Yes.
can't leave. You
Why
can't finish
not?
the show.
No? Okay. Well, come join us then, Ellie.
She'll go grab a stool. She
Come
could join for
join
10
us.
minutes. You got a 1 o'clock. You got a few more minutes on here.
I'm
But going
supposed
back
to be at my computer in Juno Beach.
Well, that's a different story. We'll let you slip away in a little bit. How about that? But to follow up with the question regarding Clubhouse, like obviously Clubhouse exploded when everybody was home, and we all got addicted to it really quickly.
Sure.
And the one,
Yay, scooch over.
yeah, and Owl was being invented right like the week we started developing Owl was literally the week I saw a post about Clubhouse, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh no, what if they have one-on-one conversations and they're allowing people to charge to get in touch with them?
I'm not even sure it's around anymore. Clubhouse, is it?
It is, and I was actually thankful. I was like, something, this is going to help us. It did help us a lot. The only issue that we ran into is Clubhouse started going downhill right as we launched with Real Money. So we launched June of 2022, and people were going back to restaurants at that point. They were going back to the office, and Clubhouse was going straight downhill at that time. And there is a new app out, actually. One of the biggest Clubhouse, not creators, because not a creator, I guess, on Clubhouse, created an app called Chatter. And they just launched in the top 100 on the App Store this week. And it's invite only, and it's actually Clubhouse on steroids. So who knows?
Okay.
There could be a comeback to the audio room. LinkedIn audio rooms have become more popular lately.
Oh, yeah, that
we'll see.
too. Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Am I
more
new to the party
space.
there? I had no
Yeah.
idea. Oh, wow.
You need to get on LinkedIn, my friend.
I'm on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, but I'm not
No,
using
no,
it for
using it.
audio.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we're
wow.
we're big LinkedIn users.
We're nerds on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah. It's just like the nerdier crowd. The
There's
tech
so
I
many
think
community.
this is how we met actually back in the day.
Was it?
Through, I think so.
through LinkedIn.
Everyone's
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. It's like the
Yeah.
new social media platform of choice.
It really-
for people, isn't it?
Mike.
It really is LinkedIn for business. It's Facebook all over again, but business related and the circles
Yeah.
and the connections. But I don't think people use even 20% of its capacity.
No. But we've met so many incredible people through LinkedIn. I know some of my best friends are from LinkedIn.
Wow. And you met them on LinkedIn?
Yep.
Like a
Yep.
blind DM or in the comments or a post?
No,
or
I would just follow people, and Jason does this too. Like you
Yep.
follow, you see their content,
Yeah.
you can relate to it, you feel like there's something that resonates with you, and then you reach out, but not about anything other than I just listened to this and it resonated or whatever it is. If there's an
Sure.
opportunity, yeah, but it's definitely relationship driven for sure.
Well, and I know that there's the component of employment and resume building and following different resources to help with job searches. And Jeffrey actually on our team, he's on Owl. He does a LinkedIn connection point, and he does a virtual lunch and learn for us. But I'm pretty sure he would be available to do an Owl discussion of LinkedIn on that end, and then obviously some of the LinkedIn learning and some of the connections and event points that we can use LinkedIn for too. And Tech Hub South Florida is certainly the place to. The place we would drive you to is LinkedIn or subscribe to our newsletter. So those are great places to find out about all of our events and all of our up and coming opportunities.
And we host a big LinkedIn local with John Morgan and a few other people, and Jason's been a big part of
I was
it.
going to
and-
text John and call into the show today.
Yeah.
He was just
Oh
texting me
yeah.
yesterday.
Shout out to John.
John, if you're listening, call
He's
in. Come on.
amazing. John Morgan. We
Cindy's
need to get
live. Hit her
we need to
profile.
get
Hit the call
another
button.
LinkedIn local on the calendar. Let's
Owl
do it.
local soon after
Yeah.
that, though.
Yeah.
But these are all great tools. It's just how you use them, right? We all only have so many hours in a day. to get work completed, and everyone wants to save time. So Owl saves you time. If you utilize LinkedIn the right way, it will save you time because you go right into the DMs and jump on a conversation with someone. Often people ask me, how did I get some of my best podcast guests? It's through LinkedIn. I pretty
And
much engage on some of
businesses,
their
like
content,
just
and
aligning
then
with different
they message
businesses,
them,
right?
and
Yeah.
and usually it's them on LinkedIn. They're not handing it over to their executive assistant. So you could really leverage that platform quite well if you do it the right way.
Interesting.
Well, and
And
I
the
think
other, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Jason hit some highlights that we talked about today, which was, not just watching your competitors and knowing what tech is doing, but also being able to be present and talk to them. Because I'm just this morning, I was texting somebody to say, hey, can we get on a call instead of being able to just jump on a call with them. And so eventually you get to the point where I can't get the answers and you just dial and you hope that they answer, where with Owl and with some of what you're doing, it makes it more feasible to get on
Yes.
a call together.
Yeah, because
They're actually available for that dedicated amount of time.
Right.
Right.
yeah,
And you've scheduled it.
And
It's
you
like
can
being
get in front of
present. You can
people that you
schedule.
might not normally
That's
have
true.
access
That's
to.
that's a
you know?
perk, right? That's
Yeah.
the plus.
and cancellations and no shows.
Or
Right.
reschedule.
We've all been there before.
Yeah.
And it drives us bananas, right? Especially we're seeing the growth of entrepreneurship right now. Everyone's a solo entrepreneur, everyone's got a side hustle, and
Lots of
their
remote.
time is so sensitive to growing their business for it to succeed. And if you have so many meetings that often cancel, like we're living in a ghosting world today. Me and Cindy talk about it all the time. It's like, what happened to all the etiquette out there, right? Where like we're both on a meeting and then we leave our meeting, jump on a Zoom, and then the other person, 20 minutes later says, sorry, I couldn't join the Zoom meeting. I got you. I'm like, so I ended my meeting early to get onto this meeting, and I took your time seriously, but you didn't take my time seriously. And we're just living in a new world. Me and my co-host Ellie last week.
Hello, Ellie. This
Ellie-
is another talented, amazing woman.
Hoot, 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 hoot. We had our podcast guest in the morning ask for directions. 4:30 in the afternoon. We're like, where is he? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then she's like, oh, I reached out to his own teammate to tell his teammate to cancel on us, but we never got the memo.
No.
And then all of a sudden, it's like it's our problem because your team malfunctioned. And then there wasn't even an apology. It was a straight up like didn't even respond to us. And I'm
Well,
just
the
sitting
other
there
thing I
like,
think that I
I'm
just
like,
going to give
what's
Jason
wrong
a
with
shout out
with
because
that?
he is again nominated for 4 different categories for the
Congratulations.
gala. Yes, for the Golden
Thank
Palm
you.
Awards. Jason does so much for the community. Owl does so much. These podcasts are bonus, right? This is not your core business, but you invite people into your studio. You invite the community in to connect, take Owl to the next level. But it isn't it's just a bonus to your business. And this is your time. And we are so grateful and we appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm actually better behind the scenes. Sometimes, when you run this many episodes and like I'm obviously running the shrimp tank and you're running these at all different hours of the day, like it does get exhausting, right? But my strengths are actually behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Like
this is
actually
the fun
producing. Like,
part,
I'm like
right?
better at
And-
like putting
yeah.
this on for you guys and like setting up all the
You do a great job
technology.
with that.
Right. But sometimes when like you're running 100 million miles an hour, and then you're like, oh wait, I also have to host today. Right. It gets overwhelming. So I'm more a behind the scenes kind of guy, to be honest.
Right. No, I say that a lot too. Like just being in PR and marketing, I much prefer to have clients and friends and people in front of the camera that, that have really incredible stories to share. Like EA, by the way.
Yes.
He's got an incredible story.
And I think that's where this takes us, is that you've provided us an opportunity to think and to explore on a level that we've never been able to do before. So thank you for that, Jason.
I'll keep pushing you guys. I'll
Cindy
keep
and
pushing.
Heather.
Because look, you have to
Yes.
break down barriers. You guys are trying to do something crazy, right? Go from 1,000 people to 5,000 people from 1 year
Very
event to
quickly.
Yeah, and you
in
have
1 year span. And that's
incredible
a big jump.
membership too. I mean, you really do have a
We do.
quality group.
And there's so many companies that we haven't yet even had that conversation with. So lots of exploration in the South Florida market and really define that. So for us, Miami and even into Monroe County, if going to Key West wouldn't be a bad thing once in a while. Going all the way up to Indian
Retreat.
River, right? And then over to the West Coast, we have an event that we're doing. Nikki and I are going over next week, I think it is. And we're trying to explore opportunities with those that are on the West Coast because they're still South Florida. So, in the mission that we have of building the ecosystem and building the relationships, it's been exciting, but there's so much more, just like underwater. It's so untapped for us right now.
Yeah. So, in closing, let's just tell everyone how to reach each other, right? So, Heather, how can people reach you on LinkedIn, on Instagram, follow you?
LinkedIn or Instagram. My Instagram is H2 the house, HAUS, and my LinkedIn, Heather Houseworth, Heather-Houseworth.
Yeah. And again, just with your travels and submarines and yachts, she's got some incredible photos on there. Cindy Mezler, you can find me on LinkedIn, is always the best place to reach me. Or Owl, you can reach out on Owl. Yes.
Same here. I'm Penny Payne at South Florida Tech Hub, or you can find me on LinkedIn under Penny Price Payne. Certainly the OWL app I'll be on a little later today and then through the week. And I have other teammates, Jeffrey Ullman and Nikki Caboose, our CEO, our Queen Bee, Nadia Volkova, and Ashton Adler. We're all on. So feel free to join us. We'll definitely have more to say next Tuesday on Tech Tuesdays.
Yes, and they are coming into the studio every single Tuesday into the future. So make sure you follow their profiles on Owl. When they make themselves available, you will receive a notification. And it's first come, first serve to get onto the show. Right. This week we didn't really formally announce it much, but in the future, as they put it on their newsletter, it's going to be harder and harder to get onto this show. And the secret is really just follow them.
Yes.
And get a notification.
Inaugural. Well, there was one 2 weeks ago, right? But it was
it off.
It was a 4-hour.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was 8 hours, 8 hours straight,
Wow.
30 different individuals that.
It was a marathon.
It was a marathon.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going to happen, but it all worked out.
It did. It was great. It was great.
We were
Well,
hoping
they had rotating guests and hosts, and
We just rotated every hour. There was a group like this, just
Wow.
in and out,
yeah,
4 at a time,
That's
and
fun.
just people calling into the show the entire day for 8 hours straight.
That's a lot.
yeah.
Or-
I'm going to add a shameless plug here. Golden Palm Awards.
Oh,
.org, Golden Palm with
Buy
no
your
S,
tickets.
awards.org. If you're interested in sponsorship or tickets or VIP, we're still out there. Or you can find me on the app and let me know what you're interested in. We'll get creative, but we'd love to see you out at the Kravis Center, beautiful Kravis Center in downtown West Palm Beach. On August 1st, our VIP reception starts at 5:00. The general admission guests come in at 5:30. Our awards start at 7, and we have an after party with some surprises. And if you see our sizzle reel, you'll see some of the dancing robots and all of the excitement from
Yeah,
last
it's
year.
really
Very
cool.
cool.
We've got
Nice.
some new surprises this year.
Cool.
Very
Guys,
fun.
just call Penny on the Owl app, and you could picture any type
Ellie,
of
do you want to sit
collaboration.
here? Say a
Right.
few words
I think we're
now.
gonna wrap up.
Okay.
We got an hour.
Okay.
So we're gonna wrap it up today. But
Thank you guys so much for
call them on Owl.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Heather.
Penny is in charge of Tech Palooza this year with
No,
over
no,
5,000.
Nikki,
A little bit in charge. A little bit.
I'm certainly here to answer
Partnership.
Any questions.
That's right.
I'm
It's a
happy to-
collaboration.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. You know what I mean. I said, what I'm saying is to get to her, to get to Nikki or anyone in Tech Hub, but you guys could pitch any idea through Owl and be part of the future of Tech Palooza.
Oh yeah, this is going to be huge. And I think the beauty too, just another plug for South Florida Tech Hub, is that you guys are so creative. Like you said, it's not like linear. Okay, this is a sponsorship. This is a speaking opportunity. You are there and willing to brainstorm and really come up with
We
something
are.
that's a win-win.
Absolutely. Every company's different. Everybody has different pain and different needs. So we're willing to have those conversations. We want to benefit our members as much as possible. And I just want to do a shout out to Heather. Thank you for exposing us
thank
to
you,
the world
ladies.
underwater again. Living in Palm Beach County most all my life, I certainly can appreciate the ocean, but I thought about it in a new way today. So thank you for that. I appreciate you
Oh,
being
I'm
here.
so glad. Thank you guys so
Thank
much
you,
for having me on.
Heather.
It's really
Yeah,
wonderful
thank
to
you.
Guam
come
on our
the
bucket
podcast.
list.
Yeah, exactly. Or that. Thanks, ladies.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That was fun, you guys.